I never thought I'd see his name light up my phone again after all these years. But there it was, a message from my childhood best friend who couldn't possibly be texting me. I stared at my phone, the glow from the screen casting eerie shadows on my bedroom walls. The message was simple, just 2 words: I'm near. My fingers trembled as I reread it, my mind racing. It had been over a decade since Jake passed away. We were just kids, inseparable, until that tragic accident took him away. I attended his funeral, watched his family grieve, and said my final goodbyes. There was no way this message could be from him. But then another message came through. Remember our treehouse? My breath hitched. That treehouse was our secret hideout, a place even our parents didn't know about. We'd spent countless hours there, dreaming about our futures, making promises we thought would last forever. I typed out a shaky reply, "Who is this?" But deep down, I already feared I knew. The response was immediate. "It's me, Jake. I've missed you, Sarah." My heart pounded in my chest. I wanted to believe it was some sick joke, but who else could know about the treehouse? Who else would sign the message with the nickname only Jake had called me? I decided to call the number, my hands shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. But the call wouldn't connect. It was as if the number didn't exist. That night, I barely slept. Every creak of the house, every rustle of the wind sent chills down my spine. I kept my phone close, unable to look away from the screen. The messages kept coming, each one more personal than the last. "Remember the time we got lost in the woods and you were so scared, but we found that old cabin? Remember how we used to share our lunches at school because you hated sandwiches and I loved yours?" I did remember. Those memories were etched into my heart, moments only Jake and I shared. But how could this be real? I decided to confront the impossible. I typed, "Jake, if this is really you, give me a sign, something only you would know." The response came quickly. "Check under your bed." A cold dread washed over me. I hadn't thought about that in years. When we were kids, Jake had given me a small wooden carving of a bird, a symbol of our friendship. I used to keep it under my bed, but after he died, I couldn't bear to look at it. I had moved it to a box in the attic, or so I thought. With trembling hands, I reached under the bed, feeling around in the dust. My fingers brushed against something small and hard. I pulled it out and gasped. It was the wooden bird, just as Jake had described. Tears streamed down my face as I clutched the carving to my chest. This couldn't be a coincidence. But if it was really Jake, what did he want? The messages continued, growing more urgent. "I need to see you, Sarah. I need to tell you something." I was terrified, but I couldn't ignore him. I had to know the truth. I decided to meet him at our old treehouse. It was still standing, hidden deep in the woods behind my parents' house. As I made my way through the familiar path, memories flooded back. I could almost hear Jake's laughter echoing through the trees. But as I approached the treehouse, a sense of unease settled over me. The air was still, too still. The usual sounds of the forest were silent, as if nature itself was holding its breath. I climbed the ladder, my heart pounding in my chest. The treehouse looked exactly as we had left it, a time capsule of our childhood. I stepped inside, my eyes scanning the familiar graffiti on the walls, the initials we had carved into the wood. then I saw him. Jake was sitting in the corner, his back to me. He was wearing the same red jacket he had loved as a kid, the one he had been buried in. "Jake?" My voice was barely a whisper. He turned to look at me, and my breath caught in my throat. His eyes were hollow, his skin pale and translucent. He smiled, but it was a sad, haunted smile. "Hey, Sarah," he said, his voice a faint echo of the boy I had known. "I've missed you." I wanted to run, to scream, but I was rooted to the spot. "How is this possible, Jake? You're gone." He shook his head. "I can't stay long. I just needed to see you one last time, to tell you I'm sorry." "Sorry for what?" I asked, my voice trembling. He looked down at his hands, his fingers flickering like a fading light. "For leaving you, for breaking our promise." Tears blurred my vision as I remembered the promise we had made. We had pinky sworn to always be there for each other, no matter what. But Jake had left, and I had been alone. He reached out, his hand almost touching mine, but I could feel a coldness radiating from him. "I have to go now," he said, his voice growing fainter. "But I needed you to know that I never forgot you. I never forgot our friendship." And then he was gone, fading into the shadows like a distant memory. I collapsed to my knees, tears streaming down my face. I didn't know how long I stayed there, grieving all over again for the friend I had lost. But as I climbed down from the treehouse, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. Jake had come back to say goodbye, to give me closure. And even though he was gone, I knew he would always be with me, in my heart and in my memories. As I made my way back home, I glanced at my phone. There was one final message from Jake. "Thank you, Sarah, for everything." I smiled through my tears, clutching the wooden bird tightly in my hand. I would never forget him, and I knew, deep down, that he would never forget me either. If it gave you chills, hit that like button, subscribe so you don't get lost between worlds, and write in the comments, are you sure you woke up in your own world? See you in the next story.